I had the chance to speak with Danny O'Shaughnessy today, the CEO and co-founder of Red Rover, a company that's reimagining HR software for K-12 schools. But this just isn't another tech story. It's about better systems, better support, better tools for the people who are trying to find, hire, and keep the educators our kids need. This is Queued Up, where we amplify the voices of educators with the science, soul, and story shaping education. Can you tell me a little bit about what Red Rover is?
Yeah, happy to. Red Rover is a software company, and we serve school districts all over the country. It's a human capital management solutions. Our mission is to place the best educator in every classroom every day.
Okay, and what's your role there?
A co-founder CEO.
Okay, that co-founder, that's a big deal. So why did you see the need for this?
Yeah, I think that my two other partners with me, Larry Fox and Mike Sheldon, we saw an opportunity to really build something that's organic or native. And what I mean by that is to build a solution that focuses on the customer, but builds it in a way that doesn't buy a bunch of companies, 15, 20, 30 companies and put them all together, but build an organic platform for K-12 for school districts. So we saw an opportunity there to do that and ultimately do it in a culture that listens to our customer and allows us to actually focus on our.
So what's your background?
Yeah, I actually worked at a different software company for 18 years, for a long time, mostly on the go-to-market side, which is on the sales side. So I led a team of sales folks there and I watched that company, grow to be thousands of school districts, of course, but that's my background. So it's been all business and it's been all in K-12.
So you had that business background and it's always been education. Why did you decide, what was that moment that you said something needs to be better in the HR process?
Yeah, it was ultimately looking at the marketplace, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and really seeing that there was not a solution that met the customer's needs with a solution that's interoperable. What I mean by that is that it can do all of the solutions that are inside of an HCM, human capital management software, and do them in a way that's interoperable or works together and seamless. So providing that software, so the product is number one, make sure that it's a modern, intuitive software, and then doing that with a team that cares. My co-founders, Larry and Mike, along with myself, really saw that opportunity, and we're glad to be serving the market now and growing.
So how long have you been working on this particular platform?
Yeah, we started in February of 2020.
Okay.
So I guess it's been 5.5 years now. We've been working on this platform, and we're currently serving more than 1,600 school districts in 13,000 schools in 47 states, and we're 127 employees. It was thrilled to be growing. God's really blessed us with a great team.
I was just thinking, you said 2020, that's a rapid growth.
Yeah, and COVID, of course, happened March, April of 2020. So we didn't foresee that. In business, you can do all you can to plan for things, but we didn't foresee COVID. But COVID really was a blessing curse for us. Obviously a curse for health and for the world. But the blessing in that was that Zoom became ubiquitous. And Zoom became immediately where every HR director and everybody in the world really became, Zoom was commonplace. From your living room, from your office, from your home. So what that meant is we could meet with, instead of 2 districts in a day where I'm flying to Detroit and then flying to Oklahoma City and then Los Angeles, I can now meet with 5 or 6 districts in a day. And that really, I think God saw that ahead and saw that, knew what was ahead of us, and we trusted him for that. So.
And, sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I think because it was mandated we had to meet on Zoom, education had been anti-virtual meetings. No, we're not going to do that. Well, we were forced into that. And so that probably gave you a pretty good advantage during that time.
It did. In particular on the velocity of rollout. We were able to just do quantity. And then of course we had I had a network of HR directors that I'd worked with for nearly 2 decades, along with my partners in our early group of teammates that they would give us an opportunity to share. And once they did, it was like, wow, this is very different. And we would love to partner with you.
Yeah. And so you already had that network of schools. So then you were able to do your connections.
That's right. And we're sitting right now at the National AASPA conference here in Nashville. And this is my 23rd conference. So I've been a part of this organization with Sandy, with the leaders here, Kelly Quest Johnson, for many, many years.
Okay. Yeah. We just got introduced to ASPA last year. And when we came, I actually got to attend and I came back to our team. I'm like, we have to always go to this conference. It's an amazing conference.
It's so much fun. And when I started, 23 years ago here, there were 340, 350 people. It's still an intimate conference, but we now have more than 1,000 people that showed up. So I know you've been here for a year or two, but it was a lot smaller before. And now it's really if you're an HR leader in this country for school districts and you want to grow and build your network and have a community that's with you during tough times, you got to be here.
And I love, yesterday we took a moment and we walked around and we talked to your booth and several of the other vendors. There's so many people here doing great things for education. I love that.
We're all in this together. I don't feel like there's any competitors here. We're all in this together, whether you're a school district personnel director leader or whether you're a vendor partner. The goal is the same, which is ultimately to come alongside HR teams at school districts to help them ultimately help the student and help them learn better.
You know, I started off my career as an educator, so I was a special education teacher, and I did not realize the backside of education. I didn't realize the HR and all of these big conferences and all of the things and how many different companies there were that were contributing to education.
Yeah, there are so many, and there's a really large front end, which would be the student and the learning side. Obviously, that's core to what education is. But there's also a significant back end administrative software and administration group like an HR team that need help. It's a different world than the front end student side. So we see our role as supporting those that are supporting others, teachers and students.
Absolutely. What was it when you started looking at, you could choose many directions to go with the software and what you were going to do, but was there a gap that you saw in public education that on that HR side that you felt like you needed to fix?
Yeah, I think the gap that we saw was really providing a modern and intuitive solution. So intuitive meaning we want them to use software and not even know they're using it, where they would just naturally go to places, whether it's clicking here or pressing this button, and they just felt like, wow, I didn't even think about it. It just happened.
Yeah.
And so I think providing software like that, I think the last 20 years of software and technology has built us to this point where we're now able to provide software because we've listened now for 20 years, gathered that feedback, and we can now leverage that to be able to. And in particular, we started our flagship product was substitute management, which is, of course, whenever a teacher's absent, maybe they take a sick day, vacation, bereavement day, we're able to then immediately, the morning of, the night before, we can find 10, hundreds, thousands of substitutes in minutes. And that's what we're doing all over the country.
Yeah. And yesterday when I stopped by, I think you told me 24 seconds for a response.
Yeah, that's the support time to support HR leaders. So if a sub-coordinator, sub-director, or an HR person, when they chat in or call in, they're going to get a human being that's knowledgeable, that's stateside, in the U.S., that can help them out within 24 seconds on average. That's right. Yeah. We pride ourselves in that.
I think you might be the number one in doing that. I've never heard of such a quick response time. I was super impressed.
Well, thank you. And it obviously costs money to do that, sure, to staff up that way. But we believe in relationships and we believe in being able to, certainly AI has a place and it has a place and it's helped us in our application of our software. But we don't think that AI can replace people that can listen to an HR sub-coordinator and solve their problem fast.
The human touch.
That's right.
Yeah.
Human touch.
And, that makes sense because when I was reading about you, you talk about servant leadership, and that's one of your core values. And so can you share a moment when that principle got tested and how you handled it?
Yeah, well, I'll first start with, servant leadership is one of our 6 core values. And servant leadership to us means that all of our employees, we have 127, their heart is to look for ways to serve both the customer when they're interacting with the customer, of course, but also internally. How do we serve one another in our departments? We're a very flat organization, and we don't have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 layers of people because we want everybody to feel like they're empowered to make a decision and to look for ways to serve. So as far as servant leadership, I'm a follower of Christ, and what that means for me is, Jesus came to serve, not to be served. And so I try to live my life in a way that is always looking for ways to help others and to serve others. And so, I think sometimes that's tested when we know it costs a lot of money to hire people to have a 24-second response time, and we could maybe make more profit or more EBITDA, maybe more profit if we only had, if we had fewer support folks. That's tempting, frankly. But I think when we look at an investment, short-term and long-term, we believe that hiring the most, not just about quantity, but it's about the quality and the character of the people you hire. It's especially important for us to do that.
I appreciate that because money often demands our attention. And so when it demands your attention and you still choose what you feel is right, that says something about your company. So,
and I think we've been blessed in that even while we've invested a lot into our product and our services and our 24-second response time, I think that in this particular K-12 market with personnel directors and HR leaders, they're loyal and they talk to one another. And what that means is that if you serve someone well, listen to them, they'll tell their neighbor, and a neighbor will tell their neighbor, and it becomes viral. And that's really what's happened to us now, thankfully.
It's that word of mouth that's always better than any advertisement we could do.
Absolutely. We could hire 100 salespeople. It wouldn't matter because one personnel director, HR leader sharing with their group, they can sell a lot more than we can, of course.
Absolutely. And that makes a lot of
Trust.
sense.
Yeah.
Well, you light up when you talk about putting the right people in the right positions. So what's your process for spotting talent and then creating that space for them to be in?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to internally hiring our own team here at Red Rover, I think it's twofold. It's of course it's character and competence. So we want to make sure that when we talk about character, hiring the right people, we talk about our core values. We talk about servant leadership. We talk about stewardship. We talk about transparency. Talk about integrity. Or we want to make sure when we hire someone that they have these values. We don't want to train them. It needs to be internal where they feel like they are operating in a mode of acting that way. And the behavior is coming from their character. So that's important. And then second, of course, is competence. We want to make sure that people can do the job that they're called to do, whether it be in developer, product engineering, whether that be in client services, support and implementation, or in go-to-market sales and marketing. You want to make sure that you have experience and have the aptitude to be able to do that as well. So everybody should look at those, of course, but character and competence.
I always say when I'm hiring, I still hire special education staff for a program that I have developed. And when I'm looking for staff, I'm looking for passion because I'm like, I can teach skills. But I can't teach the passion. You either believe all kids can learn or you don't believe all kids can learn.
That's right.
And I can't teach you that. It's just, you believe it.
You're absolutely right. And that's part of a character is just someone who is disciplined. We're a remote first environment, our work environment. So we have employees all over the country, mostly working out of their house. What that means is if it's Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock, if you don't have that passion, you could call it a day and wrap it up.
Right.
But instead, you want to hire people, of course, that have that passion, that can say, you know what, I want to make an extra call. I want to serve that customer an extra, go the extra mile from 4 o'clock to 5, 6 o'clock and make sure that I'm doing that because I care.
So have you found that some people interview well and you think you get the character piece and then when you hire them and get them on, it's not quite lining up with what you thought?
That happens and we obviously try to minimize that, of course.
Yeah.
We don't want that to be a pattern at all. You can do reference checks. Obviously, the most important hiring mechanism that we see is word of mouth, and meaning in your own network. If you know someone who's not 3 or 4 steps connected, but 1 or 2, or it's a friend and a friend's friend, or it's somebody who is currently working at Red Rover and they are recommending someone, usually you can mitigate a lot of those character challenges because that person is vouching for them, who's maybe an internal employee already, and they don't want their reputation to be on the line either. So that will mitigate it, but it does happen from time to time where you hire someone who just is not the right fit, and there's just not a passion there.
And I was just thinking, taking that information and translating it over into schools, if in school environment, we got that same thought of we're all on the same team and we're contributing and we have the best interests of our neighbor at heart, I think we could get referrals easier on, hey, they're not, they want this person to come on because they know that they're going to strengthen the team. So I like that approach.
And that really feeds into culture. I mean, it's all about
Absolutely.
at a school district or at a business, it's about what's from the top, the leaders, what kind of culture do you create? Because if you create a culture of transparency, of servant leadership, of folks that have a passion, now you have those people that are like, well, I know this person over here who's talented and I want to have them to join our team too. That could be a teacher to say, you know what, this teacher here, you got to join this district because we got great leaders here and the culture is awesome. You got to come join us in this mission.
Okay. Why should school districts choose Red Rover?
Hopefully it's about the people. Hopefully any interaction you have with Red Rover, you'll meet someone who genuinely cares about your challenges, cares about you personally. I believe that. I trust in that. So I think that that's the first thing would be you want to partner with a company that cares and the people that have the character to listen to you and to want to grow with you as a partner. Number one. Number two, I think we created our software to be built, not bought. So we created a software that is again organically built. I think what that does is that allows us to be focused on the customer and not focused on trying to integrate companies or cultures together. I think that's a really big difference. And then when you're looking at a company to go with and partner with, it's about the people, it's about the product, but it's also about joining a team that's going to listen, going to make mistakes, and we're going to grow together. And so this is not a short-term play for me. I don't plan to sell this company in 2 years. I want to be here for decades. We're here for the long run. And when you have a long-term perspective, you can make decisions that are not maybe quarterly driven by the street or by the board or by a public company. So that makes you act differently.
So you guys have grown so rapidly and you have a lot of schools that you're working with over the United States. How do you get that feedback and process that information?
Yeah, it's so important. So we do it a number of different ways. One of those ways is through, we have a huddle event once a month, which is for all of our customers that join together on a webinar. So we get feedback on some of that. We share our latest features, of course, but we also receive feedback that way. We have a development team, product and engineering team, that we don't have a lot of product managers who are in the middle. And what that means is we want to hear directly from the school district. So we take direct feedback, do that through forums, we have every couple of weeks, we have a early adopter program for new products that we take on, 5 to 10 customers that we sit down with them and we listen to them and they help to shape the product. So we don't build software. We build it in concert with the school district, directly. That's really important for us to continue to do that.
That's a great model, because the last thing you want as a customer is to have a service line that you're using, but not have any impact on being able to fix the things that don't work for you.
That's right. That's right. And we have we invest into a lot of thought leadership and best practices events. We have a national substitute management symposium in January. We had 800 districts that joined that last year. And they get a free t-shirt, they get a lunch. It's not about Red Rover though. It's about best practices in substitute management. And we bring on thought leaders from all over the country to join us for that event. And that's just one way where we're giving back. We're also listening and bringing the community together, bringing the best HR leaders in the country together for the conversation. And from that, we listen and create product.
Yeah. And that is the whole message behind Queued Up is we want to listen to what the district, what the educators are saying, everybody that's inside that building, what are they doing and how is it going well? That's what it's about. So how did this become your passion?
I think what I have a passion for personally is putting a team together and seeing them thrive. So I really enjoy finding the right people that have the right skill set and character, putting them in position, and then ultimately seeing them use the gifts that God's given them and steward over those. Stewardship meaning to manage over, to watch over, to caretake over the gifts that they've been given. You've been given a gift, Tracy. I've been given certain gifts. And if I can put people in a place where those gifts complement one another, that's really exciting for me. And to do that in an environment that partners with schools and education, school districts, that's exciting for me. So I love to get up in the morning and just attack the day with putting the team together and seeing how we can listen and serve.
And you know what? I hear your servant's heart there in everything that you just said. And that is actually when I go into interviews and looking for educators, I tell my team, I'm like, we're looking for a servant's heart, because you cannot be in this field without having that mentality. I am here to serve.
That's right. And I think that if you don't mind, I think it comes with humility. I think it comes with, I don't know it all. Maybe I'm the CEO of the company, but I need the whole team to work together to help us grow. And having that humility, having that servant heart is something that it's hard to train sometimes, like you talked to us about, but it's so important.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time here. We have had a great time of talking about servitude, and I am excited to learn more about your company. I'd only recently heard about it, but I love the principles that you stand on. And yesterday when we stopped by, you were able to rattle off that 30-second elevator speech, and it was really good. So I'm looking forward to learning more.
Well, thank you. This has been a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me onto this podcast. I really enjoyed this and looking forward to growing together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Queued Up. Follow and subscribe to stay queued up for what's next.